Hey, good evening. I'm doing this video because I wanted to talk a little bit about perceptions. I talk a little bit about everything, but this time I went home, like I said, a couple of weeks ago. What used to be home, there's nothing left there for me anymore. And, in the process of me, just kind of regrouping and trying to refine, the temple of my familiar, I saw an old classmate of mine, but it wasn't like just through bumping into them on the street or anything like that. In the process of my life right now, trying to find people to interact with, people that are similar mindsets and similar beings. I've done different things like personal ads and, internet and stuff like that. And so I happened to see one of my old classmates. So I said, oh, this must really be safe. So I responded, and all of this should be information that they already know. But I responded, and this is a beautiful, beautiful South Florida. We got the moon is coming up and all kinds of shit going on here. That's the moon there. But in the process of all of this, me just wanting, to have somebody to love and somebody to care about, not in the worldly sense of love where you're, because for me the worldly love thing is just not real. It's not a real thing. But somebody to think positive thoughts about, put positive energy out towards, and have the same return to me, or at least somebody that needs that, because that is something that I truly need. So this person, as I talked to this person, I saw all these ads, and even when I was in Florida, I saw that person's ads, whatever. But I saw the ad, and I was just like, this would be a good time to connect with an old classmate. I never really knew them back then, but just that, there's a seed of a common ground, raised in the same type of environment. But come to find out, this person was completely different than what I thought. I always thought that they were kind of shy and nerdy and so forth. But come to find out, this person was selling drugs back then and all kinds of stuff, that I wasn't aware of. So what ended up happening was, as I began to talk to them, I realized that they just got out of prison. They were locked up for maybe 10 years. And it really surprised me, again, because this is not the type of person that I thought that this person would be. So that just really annoyed me. I saw somebody walking down the street and I said hello because I didn't want to seem rude. And obviously I'm in the middle of vlogging, and then it's just like the thug came out. So I hate that, you know what I mean? So, but anyhow, so I was like, the person had been in jail for like 11 years. And I was like, wow, I have a story that I would like to share with you, But on top of that, I'm feeling a little bit lonely because, obviously nobody in this world cares or loves me. I traveled all the way home, spent thousands of dollars that I really didn't have, that I really could have used to move out of my Roach Motel. But, but it's not anybody's fault but mine, me being the child that I am, the person that I am. I wanted to, I wanted to see my mother. I wanted to make sure that she was well, that, aging and whatever didn't overcome her, and to let her know that her daughter loves her, And so I get back and, just all kinds of crazy stuff. And, the only people that actually extended anything towards me were complete strangers. This person, after, my mom just made it clear that, I'm no longer wanted, came and got me and took me back to the place that I was renting. And that's when I found out that, they spent the last 11 years in jail. I asked why. They were selling drugs. And so, I wanted to talk about that and kind of find out, the whole story. And I wanted to share my story. And, I wouldn't have minded spending the night. And as some of you may or may not know, at least mentally, I'm a very erotic person mentally, And so a lot of times, I like to, talk about things that are stimulating that way, because to me, for a person that's singling by yourself, that's your way of drawing near to people. You want to be close, intimate, spiritually and mentally, and letting that kind of pronounce itself in a very light physical form. And so I discussed these things, and then of course this person now is inviting me to spend some night, and I'm just like, well, that would be a really good idea, but just make it clear that there's not going to be any type of sexual activity, And but long story short, the person turned out to be in my opinion, because they would even, mention that a pig. And so, of course, I did not stay. But then the other part of me really, needed somebody to talk to be close to. So, I wanted it to be different kind of than what it was. But, it was what it was. I couldn't make it any different. But then when I was miles and miles away, when I got home, and then I did actually try to contact that person because I was like, well, I could fulfill this little piece of a need, before I go. And they didn't answer my call. So I got home, and, out of boredom and out of, just the sheer need to interact with somebody and have like, communication with somebody, I texted or whatever. And, it feels good to tell, I can't tell my mom I love her anymore, I don't have friends or family here that I can say those things to. So, I wanted to tell somebody that. So I told that person that, for no other reason than they shared a story about, they were in jail for 11 years and just being a completely different person than what I knew. And so, the vibe that I got was that this is not returned. And then also the thing that got kicked back to me was, why do you love me and so forth and so on. And I was just like, now if, that's just my nature and who I am. I'm a loving person by nature. Now, if you, don't want me to, I don't have a problem not doing that. Then they're just like, then they mentioned sex and all this different stuff. And I was like, wow, I didn't even respond back because I was in the middle of my date night. But, that's just what it is, And I knew that, I should have deleted, and I did delete their information. But then they found me on, like, another website and sent me something. And I was like, send me a text, I miss you, whatever like that. But it's like, I have a need as a woman. As a woman, I have a need to connect with somebody and that type of thing. And, yeah, so, and as I'm walking past, I'm walking through and I'm seeing different homes and things. People have their windows open. And I think it's so sad because this is really not a bad neighborhood. It's pretty decent. It's really nice. But it's sad that I'm living in the type of environment that I'm living in, because I love the city, Hollandale. I love it so much. And I just wish, I could upgrade my life. I don't like, my life. But there's things you have to work to make anything. And when I say work, I don't mean the traditional work. Like you go somewhere, somebody pays you money to keep your mouth shut and act as widget letter A, So basically, you got to work to make things happen. And my definition of work is that you pinpoint, you have a desire in your heart and your mind of where you want to be. And so it's good for me to walk through and see, how different people are living because, I'm less than a quarter mile from these things. Yet, my environment is completely different. And this is what my environment should be. It should be beautiful, And I got to make it happen. That means I got to have a goal that I want to live this peaceful life that's beautiful. And I got to work towards it. The first step would have been for me to move out of the place that I'm staying in. But, realistically right now, I tried. I couldn't. I could just put all my stuff into a storage shed somewhere and, whatever. But just from past experience, if I do that, that stuff is just going to stay there because out of sight, out of mind, So, that's where it is. So that's what I'm feeling, y'all. I'm feeling lonely. And being almost 40, the woman part of me is coming out where I do need somebody to care for. I do need somebody to care for me. And of course, the same old Maria is always there where I'm not going to be taken advantage of, knowingly and so forth and so on. And now there's some guy that's creeping around in a car. And I just want you to see this, So it's like a pervert. AZRD60. And that's the other thing about this neighborhood, just like old. And I don't know if you can see, but it's a some type of white Toyota, and he's basically stalking me, So also being a female, being black, and I do have on short shorts and a tank top. So, but that's no excuse. You know what I'm saying? This man is like 70 years old, like stalking me around the corner, and I'm not a prostitute. I'm not a lady of the night. I'm not selling anything. You know what I mean? It's just, people take advantage of that, and I don't know, I want to be, and sometimes I look, at different things. Like I was watching YouTube earlier today, and I saw where there was, and this is very dark, I saw where there was there's this guy that I used to watch a long time ago. I forget what his old show was, but I watch him more steadily now because I like the content. But before, he was a little too harsh for me. The Levine Life. This man, he's not married, but maybe a couple years ago in South Florida, Miami somewhere, he met this girl that he liked. They hooked up, and now he has 2 children, and it's just, you can sense and you can feel and you can see, the genuine love. And the same thing that I feel, like, you don't need a piece of paper for somebody to know that you're married. You don't need a piece of paper to know that it's a commitment. The commitment is that you are committed. The piece of paper doesn't tell anybody jack, and just listening and watching the show, I mean, I don't know, it's just beautiful to see, one, genuine love like that. And then 2, the realistic part of it is that, it may be because, one, a few different things kind of play. Just watching, he's short, she was real short, so that kind of made it help out. She's different culturally, and that always attracts people. And then on top of that, just, the fact that I think that she has his children is what makes him love her more, So maybe it wasn't that tight. Maybe, and he said himself that they went through a lot of hard things. But, the fact that now she's brought these children into the world that are his, it's just like, it's there. And to me, that's like one of the most beautiful things ever, And it's good for me to see that, good for me to feel the genuine love that's there, because I don't really see that, a lot around me, And then again, my world is secluded to, me being raised in the ghetto. My world is secluded to, where I was court ordered to go. My world has been secluded to those types of things. But what YouTube does is it opens up the doors and it allows me to see, worlds. Just like me walking through a different part of the neighborhood, it allows me to see things that I normally don't see, and see that outside of this small, short vision space that called my world, there's a whole nother world out there of different perceptions, different people, different things, different lifestyles, that's beautiful, and I definitely, want a piece of it. I don't want to sell my soul to get it, which a lot of people are willing to do, but I'm sure there's a lot of good people that didn't sell their soul to get it. They did the right thing, they followed the rules, they treated people with respect and dignity and treated themselves the same way, and they still have that level of living where they're comfortably living, and they're not damaging their souls in the process. That's the kind of person that I want to be. That's the kind of life that I want to live. And I can get it. I just have to focus. And me, I am a loner, and that's the way that I'm always going to be. So it's not like, a lot of people say you got to get around the right people. I think for me, for loners, it's different. I have to expose myself to the right environments, because I'm always going to find a flaw or fault in somebody, because, part of that lonerism thing, a lot of us are perfectionists, and sometimes things happen in our lives where we're not as perfect as we once were, but it's just, we have to expose ourselves to different environments. And sometimes those different environments are not very far. Like I said, I walk across the street, I'm in a different environment. I take myself out on a date, I'm on a different environment. So that's pretty much what it's all about. It's dark now, as you can see, so it is what it is. Peace, love, and blessings. Bye.